Okay, so part A is quite simple. So what you first have to do is simply take the integral from x to 1. In this case we have g of 2, so the answer would be the integral from 2 to 1 of the f of x graph. So since this portion of the graph lies below the x-axis, it'll be a negative number. So what you have to do is multiply negative 1 by 1 by 1/2 and by 1/2 because it's a triangle. So that comes out to be negative 1/4. For g of negative 2, you do the same thing, the integral from negative 2 to 1 of the f of x graph. However, you need to flip it, so you have negative 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. So that's simply just negating the integral from 1 to negative 2. And that will be negative 1 times 3/2 minus pi over 2. So that comes out to be pi over 2 minus 3/2. Okay, so part B is also quite simple. So we need to solve for g prime of negative 3 and g double prime of negative 3. So we know g prime of x is simply equal to f of x. So in order to find g prime of negative 3, we simply look at f of negative 3, rather, my bad. So in this case, simply looking at the graph, f of negative 3 would be 2. G double prime of x is equal to f prime of x. So we just need to find the slope at the point x equals negative 3. So you would simply do a rise over run, because we have a straight line at x equals negative 3. So that would be 1 minus 3 over negative 4 minus negative 2. And that would come out to negative 2 over negative 2, which is equal to 1. Okay, so for part C, we need to find the x-coordinate of each point at which the graph of g has a horizontal tangent line. So there is a horizontal tangent line when g prime of x, or f of x, is equal to 0. Looking at the graph, this occurs at 2 points, at x equals negative 1 and at x equals 1. So when we look at x equals negative 1, we see that g prime of x, which is also f of x, changes from changes from positive to negative. So therefore, x equals negative 1 is a relative max. The graph g prime of x, also just f of x, doesn't change when x is equal to 1. So this is neither a relative minimum or a relative maximum. It's neither. Okay, so for part D, this is the final question for question 3 of the 2012 Few Response exam. We need to look for points of inflection from negative 4 to 3. So by observing the graph, we see that there are points of inflection at negative 2, 0, and I believe, 1. So there are 3 points of inflection. A point of inflection is simply, in this case, when g double prime of x, which is also f prime of x, changes sign. This changes at three different points of x values. Okay, thank you for watching. me solve out the AP Calculus AB 2012 question 3 for your response question.